She refused Sheikh Hamdan. And he never got over it. She said no. To the Crown Prince of Dubai, to one of the most powerful, most admired, most desired men in the entire world. She looked at everything he was offering, the title, the palace, the life that billions of people would have said yes to without a second of hesitation. And she said no. Not because she did not have feelings for him, not because she did not understand what she was walking away from, but because she understood something about herself and about what she needed that no amount of wealth or power or royal prestige was going to be able to replace. And Hamdan, a man who had grown up in a world where almost nothing was ever refused to him, never fully recovered from the moment she turned away. This is the story nobody expected to be true. The story of the woman who said no to Fazza, and what that no cost both of them for the rest of their lives. To understand how significant this was, you have to understand the world Hamdan grew up in. He is the Crown Prince of Dubai. He carries a name that opens every door, in every room, in every country in the world. From the time he was old enough to understand his position, the word no has rarely been a word directed at him personally. His requests are fulfilled. His preferences are accommodated. The people around him operate within a system that is designed, at its core, to ensure that the Crown Prince has what the Crown Prince needs. That is simply how these worlds function. And within that world, Hamdan developed, as anyone in his position would, a certain understanding of how things go when he wants something. They go toward yes. They have always gone toward yes. She was different from the beginning. That was what drew him to her. Not the accommodation, not the deference that most people showed him automatically and without thought. She was someone who existed outside the gravitational pull of his title in a way that was genuinely rare for a person in his position to encounter. She responded to him. The actual him, the poet underneath the prince, the man who felt things too deeply to ever be fully comfortable with the managed version of himself that public life required, rather than to the position he held. And for Hamdan, who spent most of his life surrounded by people responding to the position rather than the person, that difference felt like finding something he had not known he was looking for. He fell for her in the way that people fall for the things that see them clearly, not the constructed image, not the crown, not the photograph on the Instagram page that millions of people admire from a comfortable distance. The real thing, the complicated, poetry writing, privately struggling, carrying more than anyone knows, real thing that exists underneath all of it. She saw that. She responded to it. And the connection that grew between them was the kind that does not come along often for anyone, and comes along almost never for a man whose entire life is as carefully managed and publicly visible as his. So he asked. In whatever way a man like Hamdan asks for something that matters to him, not with grand gestures or public declarations, but quietly, seriously, with the full weight of genuine feeling behind it. He wanted her in his life in a real and permanent way. He wanted what she represented, that specific quality of being truly seen by someone, of existing in another person's presence without performing, of being loved for the thing underneath the title rather than because of it. He asked for that. He made clear what he was offering and what he was hoping for in return. And she said no. The reasons are her own. They belong to her story in a way that cannot be fully known from the outside. But the people close to Hamdan during that period have said enough, in their careful indirect way, to give a shape to what happened. She was not indifferent to him. That much is clear. The feeling between them was real on both sides. But she understood something that perhaps Hamdan, in the middle of his own longing, was less able to see clearly. That loving someone and being able to build a real life with them are two different things. That saying yes to him would have meant saying yes to a world, to a set of rules and restrictions and expectations and managed silences that she was not willing to accept as the container for the rest of her life. She knew what saying yes to Hamdan actually meant. Not just him, everything that came with him. And she chose herself over all of it. That kind of no, the kind that comes from self knowledge rather than indifference, is the hardest kind to receive because it cannot be argued with. If she had said no because the feelings were not there, he could have waited. If she had said no because of circumstances that might change, he could have hoped. But a no that comes from a woman who knows exactly what she needs and has decided that what she needs is not available inside the life being offered to her. That no closes a door that does not reopen. And Hamdan understood that. He understood it in the way that people understand things that hurt them most deeply. Not all at once, but slowly, as the reality of the closed door becomes something he had to learn to live in front of every day. He never fully got over it. That is what the people who know him well say when they speak about this period of his life, in the careful and indirect way that people close to royal families always speak. The arranged marriage to Sheikh that came later, the one his father planned, the one built on alliance rather than feeling, carried traces of that earlier refusal inside it. A man who has been refused by the person he truly wanted does not arrive at an arranged marriage with an open heart. He arrives already carrying something, a specific kind of loss that does not leave room for a new beginning in the way that the people who arranged everything hoped it would. His poetry from the period after her refusal is some of the most searching he has ever written. Poems about doors that do not open, about knocking and not being answered, about loving someone from the other side of a wall that will not come down, regardless of how many poems are written about it. Most people read those poems and felt moved without understanding the specific architecture of the feeling being described. But the feeling is there. The specific feeling of a man who was refused by the one person whose yes would have mattered most. She is living her life somewhere right now. The choice she made to say no, to choose herself, to walk away from something that most people would have run toward, was a real choice with real consequences that she has been living with just as he has. Whether she has found what she was looking for in choosing herself over the crown, only she knows. But the door she closed that day has never fully stopped mattering. Not to him, not to the poetry he kept writing after she walked away, and not to the people who have been reading that poetry closely enough to understand what it has always been about. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell. Every week, I bring you the real story of Sheikh Hamdan, the loves, the losses, the refusals, and the poems that have been quietly documenting all of it from the beginning.